All right, so we're all agreeing 30 minutes is fine?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You're going to be all right for 30 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
You might have to all take us out for dinner afterwards.
You'll have to ask Operation Hope for that.
No, we'll just ask you.
Thanks.
Yeah, well.
Next we need to get approval for the actual place. I'm not 100% sure on the location of each family at the moment. I know they're fairly central. I'm trying to, I've asked Layla for an indication of where roughly they're located so we can pick a central spot.
Who's Layla?
The supervisor.
Okay, sorry.
It's alright, so we can pick a central spot.
Often the local libraries have spare rooms. You put them in there with a good book and say, I'll be back next week.
It's got to be quiet though, whereas we're going to be reasonably noisy.
Yeah, no, like the one at the library here. Just have that room, close the door.
Yes, it depends on how many children we have also. I mean, they have the town hall here, we could hire that.
Yes.
Most halls are fairly cheap to hire. They've got the toilet facilities, kitchen facilities.
Yeah, because
You know.
Yep.
oh, excuse me, you've got the large or the lesser hall. So you've got the two
But then
options.
it also depends on should these children be attending the school might actually have a program where you can potentially use a space within the school if it's benefiting
Mm-hmm.
them, and it might actually not cost as much.
After school,
Like an after school program type of thing, yeah, like a space at the school, yeah, that you can.
I wonder potentially if that's possible with children from outside the school.
I think it would be better advice to have it in the Shire, where it's got the air conditioning and everything, the toilet facilities, and they would have insurance to cover all the bits, all the accidents and all that. Whereas the school might close at
I mean, sometimes they have
4 o'clock.
after school programs.
Yes.
You've worked with extensively in communities before, so you have experience talking to the town council and the town about hiring a hall. Do you have any experience?
Yeah, usually you can just contact the shires and ask, you know, even just email and say, look, can you send me through the details on hiring your hall? You know, we're a small organisation, helping blah, 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 blah. Sometimes they'll either give you a discount or you might even get it for free.
Can I get you to check that out for me? Once I figure out the location of where the children are, you know, centrally located, then I'll give you the information. And then could you find out for me?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Didn't sound right in my head, but never mind. Oh. Alright, so we've done that location. Alright, I think that's fine. Alright, is there anything else we can think of? What about any problems that we might come across?
Behavioural problems.
Behavioural problems?
That, you know, with children, obviously, they might not be having a good day, so there might be behavioural problems. Also, there can be potentially, obviously, with the cultural difference, like a parent's not necessarily understanding something can therefore become
Possible irate if they take it the wrong way.
slightly an issue.
I don't think they will, but it's just...
Then you've always got the option of dialing up the a language interpreter. Just putting them on the phone and going from there.
Well, yeah.
But she might not be there all the time.
No, but we could call her.
Yes.
We do need, have we all got our first aid certificates?
Yes.
Yep, okay. We do need to make sure there is some sort of first aid.
I have something in my car. Do you have something in your car?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. Should be right. We've all got our work with children certificate, so that's cool. Any other weather? I mean, we're in such a blessed country, it's not really a concern. We don't have typhoons and earthquakes and things like that. But
apart from today.
Yeah, apart from the earthquake today.
did we have an earthquake today?
6.6.
When? What time?
Just
we were
before
at
2. We were sitting in the lounge room watching a movie, and it just everything
really?
started rocking. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's really cool.
No idea.
I wasn't smoking the same stuff.
It was. It was. It reminded me in Japan.
Yes.
We were on like the 11th story, and I thought you were shaking on the bed.
Yes. What was I going to say?
I think with the weather, obviously, if the space is outside inside, to know whether they need a hat and potentially sunscreen.
Yeah, I don't
But for
think.
the small amount of time, oh, excuse me, for the small amount of time, and you said there's no need for them to go out because it might be then hard to get them back in, all that. You don't really need to worry about the outside portion of it because they're coming with an adult, they're going with an adult, and it's all enclosed.
Yeah. So I'll just keep it inside. So let's say, like last week, we had really strong rain.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, it was at the beginning of the day, not the end of the day. But let's say, I think even if it's really bad weather, we still need to go personally. Even if you only have one child turn up, I mean they've made the effort to get there. And even if nobody turns up, I still think that we need to wait that 30 minutes. You never know, somebody might turn up.
Just take your bookwork or whatever and wait.
Yeah, use it to check Facebook or something, have a snooze. Yeah, I think
Well,
so.
geez, with the way you're working, it's probably.
All right, can you think of any other concerns or issues?
No, with the time frame,
Really?
you shouldn't have any trouble with any
Company cat.
troublesome youth or anything like that. I can't see any problem.
All right. Oops, there we go. Thank you for the visit. Off you go. Off you go. So our purpose is to implement this program, and how would you word it?
The actual program.
No,
to
how
make-
would you word
make
it?
it inviting or what?
What would you say the purpose of this team of ours is?
To integrate the children from Syria into Australia.
From Syria.
That's too broad, I think, because they're already in Australia. It's a little broad. Maybe can you make it smaller?
I don't know
An
any small
integration into
Syrians.
Australian culture. I don't know. Could just write Australian slang. That'd be great. Aussie fun.
What I'm trying to get at is what's our purpose?
Learning.
What's our team purpose? What's the overall goal of this team?
Helping the children.
That's really broad too. We come up with a much smaller.
Well, if you give us a hint, it'll be much easier.
No, I don't have anything myself. I'm just trying to think of.
We're just gonna let them.
We're just gonna let them.
That's what it is.
Let them be Aussie. No, because they're not Aussies. Let them be.
Let them be.
Let them learn.
Let them smile. There's a heap of let 'ems, we can keep going.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. They're Syrians through and through.
Let them learn English. That's short. It's not long.
It'd be interesting for them because the word let 'em really is kind of Australian slang.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of to get them more accustomed to Australia and Australian customs and assimilate them into society. That kind of
Sunshine fun.
Learning fun as an Aussie.
let them
Let them learn in Oz.
let them learn in Oz. Let them learn.
Let them learn Aussie.
Let them learn Aussie. Because are we teaching them anything Aussie, or are we just teaching them English?
Well, it's going to come across as different bits. They're going to end up with Aussie bits while we're teaching them English anyway, because they'll
pick up
do
on the
things
slang.
like, this is a chicken, and then somebody will go, look at the chook.
That's
Look
true.
at the chicken.
The chook, no, that's what I call them, chickens, just for the hell of it.
Let them learn in Aussie.
No, it's
In
Aussie.
Aussie or in Oz? And then we just all become wizards.
We'll just put let them learn. That'll do. Let them learn. So our main purpose is to get them to learn English. Let them learn. So we're all can't think of anything else. Company dog.
But that comes through.
Mel, stop making that noise.
All right. If we have any, we talked about possible issues, concerns, problems. What about performance issues? Can you think of anything that might hinder our
I
performance?
saw the children.
Us personally.
Oh,
Ill health,
yeah, being sick or
deportation. Oh no, that's right, I'm Australian.
so health.
we could put you back to your hometown. Yeah.
Then again, you know, you have a daughter. What happens if she's sick? There might be an occasion where you can facilitate, but you have to go.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think that's where the buddy
Self-family.
system would be good to go. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of the
Yeah.
buddy system.
And also, just a question.
Yep.
Emergencies.
You know, for us that have children, would that be a bring a child along too?
No, it's during working hours, so we can't.
Okay.
Emergencies. That's why you
So-
have the buddy system.
Yeah. Okay. Health emergencies. What about other? It's alright. It's not yummy. Look at that gob. What about the hall? All of a sudden we can't use the hall for whatever reason.
Well, then we just come up with an alternative
If we can't come up with an alternative in time, we have to contact the families.
and postpone.
Well, I would actually say we postpone it because that becomes confusing then. One, I mean, they would have to talk to Jamila. You would have to be the contact person. But say Jamila calls and says, no, this week we're going here. So then the next week, say, just by pure coincidence, the weather's really bad. So we've called them and said, you have to go here. And they think it's the weather. And the next Tuesday, it's a Tuesday. The next Tuesday, the weather's really bad again. And they think it's because of the weather that we had to change places.
So just postpone it then.
Yeah, just postpone it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to, and then,
That'd be a bit confusing.
yeah, because they're not going to know who to call or what to do. Well, they know who to call, but it's just confusing. So,
Who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters.
location, cancellation. And we're fine with it being school term.
Mhm.
So we'll do one term, which is 10 weeks, 10 weeks. And then before it starts, we have to get together again and in a minute I'll go through the performance plan, who's doing what. But we'll have to get together again and finalise everything. And maybe at the next meeting we actually go through the dances and the songs and that we've got. I'll video record it so you can take it home and watch it. And then we have to run the advertising, the contact. You're going to have to be the person to contact people, but we'll sort that out in the next meeting. I'll get a list of all the names and that. And then we'll run it for 10 weeks, and at the end of the 10 weeks, because we have to advertise for the following term before the first term finishes. So say we run 4 classes, because 1, 2, 3 and 1 with Pierre, that's 4 classes with you. And then we run 4 classes by ourselves, and at the 8-week mark, it might be too soon.
On the 8-week mark.
So say it's a Tuesday class, the Tuesday class finishes, the next day we can organise to have the meeting, get together, find out if it's working or not.
Yep.
And then we'd need to do the just maybe a pamphlet in Arabic or in English saying, you know, next
Half
term.
an hour.
Yeah, there's next term as well. Does that sound reasonable?
Sounds good.
Alright. So I'll get Pierre to do that. Yes, he's not here.
Okay. Because you weren't here,
Yeah.
this is what we decided for you.
Just a few things.
Just a few.
Alright, so we pretty much got the Leadham program down. Can you think of anything else that we might need to add from all your years of experience?
No, not in that short amount of time.
Okay. Alright, so we've discussed our team purpose. We've still got a little bit of time, but never mind. Right, so I just here the goals and the responsibilities. So the Syrian, a list of popular words and that we could translate through. And can you do it, the Syrian, the English, the English, the Syrian, and then phonetically, can you write it underneath for us?
What, in English?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So that's that. So that's, and the cultural differences list, you're going to
Yes.
write that up too? Alright. So once she's done that, at the next meeting we'll just get a copy of that, and then we can go through, and when we can practice ourselves, it'll be good for us to learn it and just keep it with us. Can you get that to me in 7 days? Like in a week's time, so I've got time to write.
push.
It's a push?
I'm sure we can arrange it though.
Alright, if you can do that in 7 days, then I'm hoping to have the next meeting in 2 weeks from today. So if you can give that to me, it gives me time to type it up, to go through it, make sure I can understand it myself.
I'll put it in phonetically for you.
Thank you. So that's great, 7 days. Sonia, what were you doing for me? You were the songs. You're gonna sort out the songs for me. Is that right? I gave you something to do. And I can't remember what it was. Sorry. Oh, learning games list.
Learning games.
Learning games list. Learning games list. Do you want to get in touch with Jamila and maybe call the Syrian embassy? And that might give you a hand in that.
Yes.
All right. And maybe with that you could come up with the song. I know I've asked Jamila to do some songs, but maybe together you could work on the songs. With some English songs and that.
I suppose you could find the English song and then Jamila can try and sing it in Arabic and see if it works, basically.
Okay, that sounds good. So how about the list of games is just easy, but there's a lot of games out there. If you go online, you can find different games, primary school games, kindergarten games. So if I give you 10 days to do that, is that alright? Then you just need to give me the list and I'll just type it up or photocopy it or whatever.
Yep.
Is that alright?
10 days to complete.
Because repetition is good also, even though you want to change the games, but repeating them a couple of times throughout the term is not a bad thing either. It just helps familiarise them, but not too close together. My idea is like, say you do one on the first one, but then you do it on the fourth. So then say you might have some children that have been there, but then, excuse me, for that lesson, but then they're there for the other one, and then they go, oh, I remember that game. And then they're familiar with it, so then they help the others.
Can anyone remember how the hopscotch game with the numbers works? Because that'd be a really cool one, because you could throw the bean bags and throw that over and they could do the whole hop thing.
I did it with the dice.
Dice?
The dice.
I was just thinking because they can see the actual number
Yeah.
on the floor.
No, I can't remember. I can't even remember elastics either. I remember doing
No.
elastics. I can't remember.
You can ask the children when you're going to do the singing after a couple of sessions, do they have a favourite?
Yeah.
And you may find one will carry it all the way through. It's like when you go to church and there's favourite choruses that the people sing, and they'll go over and over and over till
It's
everybody's
usually-
bored to death.
It's usually they're really bad with the rest of the song and the chorus comes along and they're rock stars.
Yes, yes.
Isn't that right?
Can you remember any? Oh, you wouldn't because you were born here. Any Syrian? I mean, the kids must have their own games in Syria
Yes.
that we could.
But then again, you can also do the show us a game that you play, and they can show a game that they play at home.
Yes.
We would have to do that when you're there, so that you
Yes.
understand
We
it.
could even do
That's
the
true, but-
old-fashioned knuckle bones.
You throw the dice, throw something up, and pick the dice.
Oh.
Is that it? It's knuckle bones.
Knuckle bones. You have the knuckles from the lamb, the leg of lamb. There's 5. You throw them up and.
Yes, I can't remember.
Yeah, can't remember. It's too
You
old.
as far as I know, you throw them down, you bounce the ball,
That's it.
grab some,
And catch the ball.
and then catch the ball, yeah, or something like that. But you'd have to double check that, being from Syria, and if it's okay with
Because lamb, yeah, they
animal
might be
things.
Muslim.
Yeah.
Are they Muslim?
Potentially.
Yeah. Well, we don't do with cow knuckles, will we?
No. What are some other games that? This is a good topic. What are some other games that jacks? We call them jacks,
Mm.
not knuckle bones.
Or pick up sticks.
Pick up sticks.
Marbles.
So we can't take those games with us because yeah, as you said, up the nose and down the throat.
Depending on the age, though. So if you've got them,
But we've got siblings coming as well.
yeah, well then it would just depend on the age of the siblings that were going to participate. But if you had them all, and the youngest one was 4, then it shouldn't be a problem. But you're always going to get the odd one's going to stick something in their ear, up their nose, or something.
What's the time, Mr. Wolf?
Ah, yeah, that's a good one. Let's put that on our learning game. What's the time, Mr. Good?
And you can do that in those words must be easy to translate into Arabic. So you could do it in Arabic and then just say in English.
Yep, that's cool. You can learn numbers that way. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
You have that one, there's a game that you clap, and it could be anything from like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you say da 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 in Arabic. It's sort of, I don't know, integrate it with something.
I know kids like to bang and beat things, so maybe we could get.
Holy pots and pans?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Dun, 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 dun. I don't like you. Dun, dun, dun.
Right, that's fine, but you're providing the earplugs.
Oh dear. So Finn, you're going to get approval for the hall.
No? Yeah, okay.
We need approval by next week, the next meeting. So you've got 2 weeks to do it.
Jeez, talk about time, Paul.
I will get the information to you about where the children are located as soon as I know.
Mm-hmm.
And I will organise flyers that the kids can take home from school, and and see if you can get an inclusion in the newsletter.
That's a good idea. What about if...
Sorry, just a question. Did you mean a newsletter like out at the school?
Yes, but get Jamila to write it out in Arabic and put it on the bottom of the newsletter, because I don't know if they do the translations for the parents into Arabic.
I wonder if putting a limit, like if we sent it out to a couple of different schools, we could have 100 and something kids turn up, and you can only have a certain amount of kids per person. So maybe we need to put a booking limit somehow.
Well, can we not potentially? You'll have a list of the
Syrian refugees.
The Syrian refugees. Can we not potentially create a flyer
Just for them.
specifically for them, and for the parents? You can also put in the English translation, because you're trying to help them learn English, but mainly for the parents, because they're the ones that will be taking the children.
That's a good idea.
Let's say, that's brought up another possibility here. The children decide to bring their friends. What are we going to do?
We might have to specify in it that, I don't know, if we make a max of how many kids are there, especially if there's only one person there, because there's only 4 of us, and then, at the end of the term we can say, or middle of the term, this is bring a friend day.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Otherwise we're going to
bring a friend
a
day
of friends
specifically,
as well.
Depending on what area we're in and what schools we are within our target area, depends on how many children. So we'll know beforehand how many. Then we might have to look into hiring somebody that is going to be there as
potential security.
yeah, but more like a childcare worker. No, not childcare worker. Sorry, like the girls at the daycare centre. Yeah, childcare. That's it. Sorry, that come in for a couple of hours or the hour or whatever. I think the minimum you have to pay is 2 hours for somebody to work.
But then you can also look as a volunteer.
Yes.
Volunteer.
We can get other caseworkers to come as well.
Okay. Or even if the some of the mums that have not necessarily good command of English, but if they're prepared to do the working with children and the police check, they could possibly come in.
It might be a bit hard if they've just come in and
Yeah.
the country.
I'm thinking. So we're going to have a set number. I'm thinking that we're not going to have 60 kids coming.
No.
Right. As soon as I get a list of families, I mean, it's still dependent on whether parents can drive. They have a car. They can get from A to B. Most people live close to the school. They walk or ride their bike and pick the kids up. There'll be a whole pile of factors, but
That's where Jamal's suggestion of using the school and possibly the school libraries. So, yeah.
That's true. But I don't think they'll accept outside. Or the libraries, yeah.
I was thinking more about this town, whereby if they're out of if they're at another school, they're delivered home by bus. The ones here the parents get. So if we had 4 Syrian refugees here at the school, the mother goes to the school, the father brings them to the hall, that sort of thing. But if it's a long way away, it's going to make it difficult. Please go on. Sorry I interrupted.
I've forgotten now. I was just going. But then again, it can't hurt to potentially speak to the school. You never know. There might be, if these students are in their school, it might actually be beneficial for them. So they might be more accepting and facilitating to help out the program to have it in their premises.
Do you think it would be possible or worth your while going to the local, synagogues?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and speaking to somebody there, because often when they're going to churches and things, they're picked up and taken. So they may have some facility whereby at some point you might need to get these 4 children picked up from here and taken from there, and their schools not in that area, that's somewhere away from that area.
Well, school finishes at 3:15 and a parent has to pick them up. Any which way.
But then perhaps if they can get themselves, so they live close to the school, they can get there, but they don't have the transport to get from there to this program. So the church might then be involved and just drive them there and take them back and drop them off.
See if the synagogue, church, whatever, has got their own bus, like little buses.
Yes, they have little buses sometimes. So.
Well, the Syrian refugees aren't going to be in just one school. There's like 5, 6, 7 schools that they're all spread out over. So that's what I'm thinking is we need a central location.
Mm-hmm.
If there's only 2 kids in here and 4 kids over here, I mean, I just think that it would be better if we chose a more central location, a town hall or something like that.
Within walking distance.
No, yeah, biking distance, walking distance, whatever. But we'll have to check bus routes as well, maybe by train line or something like that. Church option is there. I haven't thought of that before. Maybe that's something we can come up with. But say there's 60 refugees that we're going to invite. Do we invite them as a whole to one? So what we'll do is, what I think might be the best option is, I'll get the list of all the refugees and their siblings and their family, how many members are in there, and then I'll get you to call them. Once we finalise everything, what day, time, place, get you to call them and say, would you be interested in, or even potentially interested in for your child, a English immersion class on Tuesday at 3:30. Get you to call them and find out yay or nay.
Is this a free program?
Yes, it's free.
Okay, so then reiterate to them that at no cost to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, so you'll have a list then of how many will come. Say potentially 80% come. That's 40 kids. That's that's too many for us to do on our own.
But then again,
will they come each time?
Well, that's when you go, okay, 40 kids, you need to have 4 there. That's like 10 per adult.
You can
primary school age is
28,
30, 28,
yeah.
30 per one.
Okay. Oh well, then that's when we need to go. Okay.
I need 2.
In the first stages, we'll have
we've got
4 or 5 of us there anyway to start with, which will be fine. But
we could
when it comes down
to the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, and when it comes down to after that, where it's like, okay, you're going to run that on your own, and there's a buddy system, but then you go, well, there's still too many children. We need to have more to facilitate. So then I suppose if we're all available to come in for this program once a week, so then we'll know.
We could sort out other
numbers.
people in the office as well.
Yeah.
Well, if we have the buddy system,
I like that idea.
yeah, it's good. If you have the buddy system to start with, there'll always be other caseworkers in the office. We can always juggle our caseloads. Maybe we just keep that in mind, that we're going to have to
But it can be available.
Yeah, that we're potentially going to have to juggle our caseloads. I mean, the first 3 or 4 weeks, after that's finished, you'll know how many kids you've got. So I say 3 weeks. The first week, heaps of kids. The second week, probably not so many. And the third week, yeah, you'll
drop off.
Well, they might come back the second week. They might have something on, but usually by the third week, you know roughly how many you're going to have. So if we just keep that in mind.
It might be also good to get like an idea of people going, like, are you interested in coming back, or so we can get an indication of, that's something I can discuss with them when you speak to them, and when I speak to them on the phone, say, well, look, we're running this program, let us know should you wish to attend. And they've seen how their children enjoy the program, well, shall we see you next week? And try to get an indication of how many people are going to be coming back each time, so then we can sort of just, and plus it also allows personal interaction with their parents as well as them, and we'll see you next week.
That's good. No, that's a really good idea. Maybe
Well, we'll bags that you stand on the door as everybody's leaving, so you can talk to them. Okay.
It would be nice if we learned how to say basically something, thank you for coming, see you next time. in Arabic and then in English.
Well, that's the list that you're going to give us.
Yes.
That could you put that on the list for us?
I'll make note.
Thank you. Maybe after the first week, we just call them back and say, get Jamila to call them back and say, you know, how did it go?
Feedback.
Feedback, yeah. Did your child enjoy it? Is there anything you'd like us to teach your child? And that will help us with performance too. I mean, if we're finding that it's not going really well, the first lesson, obviously, probably nothing's going to go to plan. The second lesson, well, fingers crossed. Third lesson, we should be starting to get into a rhythm. So call them back on the first one. Then by the third or fourth time, I think at the first meeting we'll take a note. Give them a not an application form, but a, what do you call it?
Expression of interest type
No,
of thing.
It's like a follow-up form?
No, it's like a
Feedback.
no,
Suggestion? I don't know.
like an enrolment form, but it's not an enrolment form. Participation form.
Okay.
So
Why didn't you just say that in the first place?
because I had it in Japanese and not in English.
Well, you could have said it. We probably
Which
would have.
question?
We probably would have said here.
Sankasho. Then we've got all the details.
The
And then-
colour night.
Well done.
What did you say after the first day? We give them a participation form.
Well done. Well played. Give them a participation, and then that's not the right word anyway. But and then we've got their details, then we can call them back and say, you know, what's going on? What do you think? I mean,
Potential area for improvement, or something that they.
that's a thought. Parents. You often have parents who are sitting out on the sidelines and they get louder and louder.
How's it go?
They get louder and louder, and they don't like. I don't mean to be mean, but Chinese people, they're really loud when they talk because they need the intonation need to be heard.
It's going
It's
to
where they're
interrupt.
fighting sometimes.
Sorry.
It's going to interrupt.
Yeah, it's going to. So how do we deal with that? Hopefully, like if you are able to remember who they are. Name tags. I think we should have name tags.
Yes, absolutely.
Going on that, like in some dancing studios, I've actually seen that where, like, the students come for their lesson and they go into the dance studio, and the parents have to wait in the front room.
Mhm.
It's literally a closed off area so that so the dancers aren't being interrupted by the parents wanting to, oh, look at my child, they're wonderful, they can do the splits, look at them. Something, there might be, depending on the facility we choose, there might be parents, thank you for dropping your children off, if you'd like to wait for them here. If you don't want to sit in your car,
Or you
please
just-
wait for them in here.
Or you
And there's
say
tea and
to them-
coffee there or something, like.
Yeah, you say to them, when the dance, when the program is on, you can't talk. If you want to talk, you have to go back out and talk. And then just keep telling them that and just go, you must go out.
Yeah, I like that one.
Because then it gives the ones that I want to sit there and watch, they'll be quiet, but ones will come in and they'll forget. So you have to remind them in a very polite, nice way, they must be quiet. But then if there's
That's
something and
true.
Mrs. Maggs turns up and Mary Jane's there and she hasn't seen her in 20 years, she's got to have a big chat. So let them go outside, have a chat, and then come back in again.
But there's just a note on that. What I can think some children don't, if their parents said they don't actually let go, they don't participate
Yeah.
probably. Whereas if on the cases of they're not familiar with other people, they're shy, they might actually participate if their parents aren't in the room, or it can be the opposite where some may only participate if their parents are in the room.
Yes.
So I suppose we can play that by ear and just go, okay, if it gets loud, we respectfully ask them to quieten down, or please leave if you wish to carry on the conversation, and then gauge it by, okay, you've got 4 little children not participating because their parents are here. And we go, okay, how do we
I think I think it would be a couple of weeks of them coming before.
Yeah.
You know, being from Syria, it's going to be a case of the mother's not going to want to let them out their side. For starters, that's going to be the hardest part. Dropping your kid off and close doors. That'll be the hardest part.
Yeah, I